Some homes might look phenomenal, but underneath there may be significant issues. And there's ways that you can find these things, and I'm here to tell you about them. The purpose of this video isn't to scare you, it's just to inform you. I always go over the important things with my clients, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm very upfront. I want to make sure you have all the facts so that you can make the informed decision and not make a decision that you're going to regret. So let's dive in. I'm going to go over 10 issues that you need to be aware of when you're looking at a house. The first one is an HOA. HOAs can sometimes be a great thing. They can help a neighborhood and keep that neighborhood looking great, and it's kept up really nice. HOAs can provide great community events, and some are very healthy, and we have some of those here in Colorado, specifically in Highlands Ranch. But there's a lot of bad HOAs out there. Now, how do you find out if you're looking at a home in a bad HOA? Well, you're going to request a couple documents. You're going to request meeting minutes. You're going to request the financial information for the HOA. You're going to ask for the covenants and any other information that you can get from that HOA. There should be quite a lot, and you need to seriously look through all of it. Meeting minutes are going to tell you if they've been discussing maybe an assessment for the HOA that they're going to place on all of the owners, or they're going to be talking about maybe an increase in your dues. So meeting minutes can really give you the information that you need to know. Sometimes these meeting minutes can also give you a sense of the financial stability of the HOA. Now, you really want your HOA to be really cash heavy. And the reason for this is we want the HOA to be able to cover any issues that may arise in the neighborhood. Say all of the fencing needs to be replaced, maybe the roofs need to be replaced if you're living in a townhome, or they're replacing all of the siding. It's really important that the HOA has the funds and has the budget to be able to cover these things. If they do not, they're going to place an assessment on each homeowner. Sometimes these assessments can be $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000. And so the way that works is, you pay your regular mortgage, but then you're also likely going to be on a payment plan for these assessments. One way you can get around this is by adding on assessment coverage with your homeowner's insurance. So of course, that's going to mean that your homeowner's insurance is going to be an additional cost. So HOAs can be good. They definitely can be bad. Some other things you should watch out for with an HOA is really comb through the neighborhood. See how well it's kept up. If there's a pool, go to the pool, go to the clubhouse, see how well it's maintained. You need to really look closely at like the concrete, the sealant. You need to look at, the condition of the clubhouse, the amenities that they have. If everything there is very nice, very well taken care of, it's likely going to reflect that HOA is probably very healthy. But if the amenities that go along with the HOA are very dated, very old, then this may mean that the HOA doesn't budget very well, or that there's some other issues going on. The other thing you need to look out for is HOAs oftentimes are involved in lawsuits with contractors. So if an HOA is involved in a lawsuit with a contractor and you need to sell your home, this is going to be a big turnoff to your buyers. Another thing you should watch out for when home shopping is purchasing an old house. I'm talking 50, 60, 70, 100-year-old house. Now, all of these houses have a lot of charm and a lot of character, and they may be really appealing in that way. But what you don't see is how old the plumbing is. You won't see behind the walls to see that there's all aluminum wiring. You aren't going to be able to see the full foundation to see how well the integrity of the home is. A lot of times in these homes, you're going to find lead, you're going to find asbestos. And with how environmental friendly, we are trying to be. Now, people are starting to steer away from some of these homes because they don't want these chemicals and this lead in their home that they're going to be consuming or that could potentially be harmful. Also, if you're purchasing a house that is very old, it is going to cost tens of thousands of dollars if you plan on doing any renovations, because you're going to have to go in and update all the electrical. You're going to have to go through and update all of the plumbing. You're going to have to do asbestos mitigation. There's a lot that goes into it that can cost you tens of thousands of additional dollars to do your renovation. The third one is purchasing a home on a busy road or by an airport. People are becoming really conscious of their surroundings nowadays. And so if there's a lot of noise pollution, that isn't going to be a turnoff for your buyers. Now, when you're purchasing a home, I always try to advise my buyers that they need to think forward. Most people don't stay in their house forever. You know, whether you're planning on living in this house for 3 or 4 years, maybe 8 or 10 years, at some point you're going to be selling this home. So you need to look at all the factors that may be a turnoff or may change in the future, and that might turn off some of the buyers of your home. So living next to a busy road can really be risky, because if you're living here in Colorado, chances are the traffic over years and years and years from now is just going to get increasingly worse. And so that noise pollution is going to continue to get worse. If you live by an airport, it's going to be the same thing. You know, our airports here are expanding, there's more people flying, and so that noise pollution is going to get worse. And people are really steering away from that. They want to live in a quiet community. Also, the next one, number 4, if you are in Colorado or if you're a native, you know you do not buy a home that is north facing. The north-facing homes, you can spot them from a mile away. The front of their homes are filled with snow. The driveways are filled with ice. Your front porch and your front walkway is going to be filled with ice. And you get this freeze, thaw, day in and day out here in Colorado during the winters. And so it really can be a safety hazard. It can cause cracks to your concrete, and this is going to be a turnoff for educated buyers. Educated buyers know that here in Colorado, a north-facing home has a whole set of challenges that go along with it. Funny thing, if you drive down a street, you're going to see 2 different seasons if the homes are facing north and south. The north-facing homes are going to be winter. The south-facing homes are going to look like summer. So make sure you are picking a home that faces a direction that you're going to be satisfied with. A 5th one is purchasing a home with foundation problems. Now, sometimes there are really minimal foundation problems, and you can notice them by diagonal cracks, stair-stepping cracks. Sometimes the doors and windows won't open properly, or they will get stuck. Sometimes you'll see large cracks in the floor, uneven floors, sloping of the floors. Now, it's really common for any home to have normal settling to a certain extent. But when it starts to affect the structure of the home, that's when you're going to have some issues. Now, even if you're looking at a home that's had structural problems and they say, hey, we had these structural problems and we've since had them fixed, that's great. But is that fix going to be long-term? If you plan on purchasing this house, in 5 or 10 years when you go to sell this home, you have to disclose to the next buyer that there was once structural problems on this home. And all of my buyers that have ever seen that on a description or in a property disclosure, they instantly get a red flag goes up, and that is a big reason that buyers walk away from homes, is because of past structural problems. And it's associated with tens of thousands of dollars of cost to get that fixed. And buyers want to avoid that at all costs. 6, do not buy the home that is poorly taken care of or neglected. You may think that, wow, this is a diamond in the rough. It just needs a little bit of work, but that's not always the case. Poorly maintained homes also mean that the major systems within the home are also poorly maintained. So you may be looking at a new furnace, you may be looking at a new hot water heater, you may be looking at a new roof, you may be looking at new gutters, you may be looking at new siding, new windows. So it isn't going to be just the home where you can put some new paint, change out the carpets, and the house is going to be beautiful. A neglected home goes much deeper than that. Oftentimes, to avoid this, you can definitely hire a very qualified inspector who can make sure that the home doesn't have significant issues such as water leaks or water damage that was never taken care of. Sometimes these homes often have plumbing problems that are just left because there's not a significant enough damage done to warrant, a new bathroom or, replacing the kitchen floor. So this slow leak goes on for years and years. So purchasing that neglected home can really end up being a nightmare. Number 7, purchasing a home that is in a school zone. So sometimes you can find a great home right across from the elementary school, and you might think to yourself, we plan on purchasing this home. Our kids can walk right across the street to go to school. But again, like I've said, you're probably only going to live in this home realistically 5 years, 8 years, maybe 10 years. And most people, when they're purchasing a home, do not want to live across the street from a school because 1 to 2 hours in the morning, there's going to be a massive amount of traffic in front of your home. There's going to be a ton of cars parked in front of your home. And if you have to leave for work when school is getting ready to start, it is going to be unpleasant to get out of your neighborhood. If you come home when school's being let out or when there's after school activities, all of that constant traffic and being in a school zone and all of the kids walking can really, really be a deterrent to a lot of buyers. So a house in a school zone may be okay for you and you may be willing to deal with that because of the convenience of the school across the street. But when you go to sell your home, it's going to be a big deterrent for most of your buyers, which is going to result in you selling your home for less. Another one is purchasing a home that is in a flood zone or in a higher fire danger area. Now, with global warming and just the big swings in weather that we see here, we have really seen some drastic changes in our winters, our springs, our summers. Just a couple years ago where our spring, it was last year actually, where our spring lasted like 2 months longer than it should have when we got record amount of rain and we had flooding issues. So if you're planning on purchasing a home that is next to that cute pond or you got a stream in your backyard and you're in a flood zone, this could be a large problem for you down the road. Even if it's a 50-year flood zone or a 100-year flood zone, I've seen those 100-year flood zones get flooded out in the last 3 or 4 years here in Colorado. So you need to be diligent and you need to look at those things. Also, if you're in a flood zone, you're gonna have way higher insurance premiums. Now, if you're in a high fire danger area, which is really common here in Colorado, everybody wants to, live in the mountains, live really close to the mountains, live in the foothills, and that is great. And you can find amazing, beautiful homes up there. It's nice and peaceful. You're living up there with the deer in your yard every day. There's a lot of pluses to living up there, but it's really important that you pick a neighborhood that has multiple exits. So if there is a fire close by and your neighborhood is being evacuated, precautionary, you've got multiple ways to get out of your neighborhood. The last thing you want is being in a high fire danger. There's a fire maybe within a couple miles of your home. I hope this never happens, but this is Colorado and it has happened before. If you get evacuated and there's only one entrance and exit to your neighborhood and it's towards the direction of the fire, it could be really challenging in some extreme situations for you to get out of your neighborhood. So always pick a neighborhood that has multiple entries and exits to it in all, north, south, east, west. Very important. You can also go to FEMA and research some maps and the local fire danger ratings before you go and buy. Also, when you're purchasing a home in the mountains or in a high fire danger, you're also going to have those large insurance premiums. There's a lot of insurance carriers that actually do not provide insurance in some of our mountain communities. So it's really, really important to do your due diligence, talk to neighbors, go on Nextdoor, go on Facebook, go to the community groups and ask the neighbors their experience with insurance and if their insurance has good coverage and what the premiums are, or if their insurance provider has dropped them because they no longer provide coverage in a high fire danger area. Just use your resources that are there. It will save you a big regret from purchasing a home in the mountains. Another one here in Colorado specifically is purchasing a home with a pool. Now that may surprise you. You may think that purchasing a home with a pool is a great amenity to have. Purchasing a home with a pool is a great amenity, right? Well, actually, it's been shown that pools actually depreciate your home. When buyers are going out and looking for a home, most buyers don't want the maintenance and the upkeep of a pool. They don't want the high water bills associated with a pool. To a buyer, this is just extra money, extra cost, extra utilities, extra maintenance that most buyers really don't want nowadays. So number 10, don't purchase a home that is overly customized, extremely unique in its finishes or in its layout. These homes are very, very challenging to sell. So if you have a home that you think is phenomenal and it has 4, 5 levels, this is going to be a very challenging home to sell. Because one, most people prefer to have less stairs in their home. And something that is extremely customized, such as overly large feature walls or maybe a built-in aquarium. I've even seen homes with indoor greenhouses, or homes with an extremely unique layout for the kitchen, or a home that has a very unique bathroom with eccentric tiles, bright colors. I've seen, bright purple bathtubs that are new bathtubs, not the ones from the 70s. Homes like this are really a deterrent for buyers because finding a buyer that has that same taste is likely impossible. And so buyers will walk into a home that is super unique and they automatically just think the dollars it's going to take to replace some of these items in the home so that it's not so obnoxious or so that it fits our style is going to be way too much money, and I'd rather pick another home. That's what buyers are going to think. So I think you're getting the trend here. If you're picking a home with one of these issues, you really need to think of how these potential issues could change in 5 to 10 years when you go to sell. And if this issue is going to change and increase and get worse, then it's likely that your house will sell for less when you go to list it. I have a bonus one. Buying a house with solar panels. I know it's a great idea. You go into Home Depot and they tell you that solar panels are going to be life-changing and you're going to save so much money. That is oftentimes not the case. As a real estate agent, I have seen time and time again where people will go and purchase solar panels and they lease them. They put them on their home, and the energy that they are getting from those solar panels doesn't even cover their electrical bill. So they have an electrical bill, plus they have the bill to lease these solar panels. So in the long run, it costs you more. It doesn't provide you a benefit. Also, what they don't tell you is if your roof needs to be replaced, it's probably going to cost double, if not double plus, to get your roof replaced because the roofing company will not remove these solar panels and reinstall them. So you have to pay a solar company to come out, remove those solar panels, and then you have to pay them to come back out again to reinstall them once your roof has been replaced. It can be extremely costly, very tedious. Buyers look at this and think it could be just more money. How do I replace the roof? And an experienced agent is going to be upfront and educate buyers on what to expect if they have a house with solar panels and the added cost it's going to take to replace your roof. Because roofs here in Colorado, as we know it, we have hail. Our roofs are probably replaced more often than most other states. So the other thing I want to tell you about solar panels is if you're leasing them and then you go to sell your home, the buyer not only has to qualify for the purchase price of the home and be able to afford the mortgage, but then they also have to qualify to take over that lease. And oftentimes, especially in Colorado with how costly it is to live here, people are purchasing at the tippy top of their price point and they're stretching their budget to purchase their first home or maybe their second or third. And the last thing they want to do is add on another unnecessary bill that they have to qualify for. And oftentimes they might not be able to. The other thing is if you decide to purchase your solar panels and you're on a payment plan and say you have another $5,000 to $10,000 left on your payment when you go to sell your home, depending on the market, you as a seller are going to have to pay that off, or the buyer is going to have to figure out a way to come up with additional funds to pay that off. So this can make transactions very challenging. It can cause buyers to definitely stray away from submitting an offer. Or if a buyer has a very uneducated agent that didn't educate them, what will happen is a buyer will put in an offer. They'll think this is a great home. It's going to be a great thing to have solar panels. And then halfway through the contract, they realize, oh, wait, there's another $10,000 we have to pay off? Or there's a lease payment of $120 that we have to assume and qualify for? They're going to back out because they're likely not going to be able to afford that. So save yourself the heartache. Don't get solar panels. Just don't get them. It'll save you tens of thousands of dollars, especially when you have to go replace your roof. So this is my list of the 11 homes that you should not buy. Don't be one of those 75% of homeowners that regrets their decision. I want you to love the home that you've chosen to purchase. I want it to be free of any of these issues that I've spoken about. Purchasing a house free of any of these things will likely save you money in the long run. So if you're thinking about purchasing a home here in Littleton or in the Denver metro area, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to educate you on all of these things, plus much more if you're planning on purchasing a home. Like I said, I tell all my clients the good, the bad, and the ugly about every home. And sometimes I can be blunt because it's what you need to know. You need to make an informed decision and you need to know all of the facts. And it's my job to make sure you're educated and you know all of those facts. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe. Go ahead and hit that notification button so that you know when I'm posting my next video. I post them every week. And go check out my last one if you want a good laugh on the stinky places to avoid in Denver. That's one thing I didn't include in this video because the stinky places has a video of its own. So go check it out. It'll give you a fun laugh, like I said. See you next week. Thank you.